Go live didn't take. Well, hi, and welcome back to another episode of Three Crones and the Woo Woo. How are you all doing today? We're so happy to see you. We've missed you these last 2 weeks. Oh my gosh. So if you're watching on Facebook, please give us a like, give us a comment, chime in. If you're watching on YouTube, same spiel. Give us a like, give us a comment, share this out with your friends. We love to have more people involved. I am today sitting in Bennington, Vermont, in Willow Park, and you can see, let's see, right there above this, the line there is a little spire. I'm sorry, this is like mirrored, and I don't know where I'm at. This is called the Bennington Battle Monument, and the reason I'm here today and I'm pointing it out is because today is Bennington Battle Day. And I'll get into a little bit more of what that's about in a minute, but I want to make sure I introduce to you the people that are the other two of my three crones to my side. I still have this wrong. To my side, I have Krista Ducharme with Dimensional Healing with Krista on Facebook. She is our traveling crystal crone. And as always, supporting us from below, we have Damaris Samolinski with Ask the Genie with Damaris. I am just so happy to see you ladies again. I missed you so much.
Oh my God, 2 weeks seems like forever.
It did.
It really does. I mean, last week I was all set and I was all ready. I'm like, yes, we're going to go on. And then Kevin at 6 o'clock comes in. Kevin comes in from work and he's going, isn't today Tuesday? Aren't you supposed to be on today? What's going on?
We had technical problems last week.
It happens to the best of us.
We did, you know, and we got those all straightened out, which is fantastic. I'm really happy because it was weird, and a lot of people were experiencing it.
Yes,
all
over.
Yeah. And I can only imagine, honestly, because we had a huge CME on the 7th of August. And so last week was the 9th. And by that time, it was actually hitting our atmosphere and ringing the bell, so to speak. So it makes sense that we weren't really able to get a steady signal. And even StreamYard itself was kicking me out when I was trying to upload segments. So it wasn't just my service, you know, it was.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah. So I'm really glad to see you all again. How has the last 2 weeks been for you? I know Krista's been healing like herself.
So I am all better. Thank you. Yeah, it wasn't COVID related, you know, to share TMI. I don't mind sharing it, but for those of you, we all had COVID. I got better. We all were feeling better. And then I got a UTI. And for those of you who have ever had a UTI, you know that can bring you down like a bag of bricks. And that's kind of what happened to me. And it happened instantly. And because it was my second one ever in my life, I'm one of those rare people that haven't had one.
I used to get them when I was pregnant all the time.
Yeah, no. And I worked in aquatics. And so a lot of people are like, you mean you did it? Because I mean, I was constantly in swimsuits. Yeah. But I learned to change my swimsuits. So that's why I had 27 swimsuits.
One for each day of the month that you were swimming.
I just was constantly changing my swimsuit. But yeah, so now we're all better and we're in a different rush because Genevieve leaves for uni on Friday. So we're in that last minute, you know, plug. I mean, all of you who have sent your kids off to uni and you're staying in the same country, they're just going to school in a different state. You understand that pressure. So now add on, you're sending your kid to another country.
Across an ocean, no less. Not even just US to Canada, but
no,
yeah,
across the
pond.
ocean. Yeah. So we've been doing, like, today was a wicked productive day. We did a lot of last minute stuff. Over the weekend, we celebrated Jen's 20th birthday, which won't be happening until she's back in the States next week. But, you know, we were doing all kinds of fun stuff. It's been just crazy busy. And on top of it, we're having another heat wave.
Another heat wave.
Another heat wave.
Yeah,
Again?
For us, we're having it should be our last. I mean, it'll stay warm. You know, we won't go into fall or anything, but the weather guessers are thinking it'll be our last. So if you see me with my fan,
yeah,
it's
that
a little
would make
warm.
sense. Absolutely. Fantastic. Well, Damaris, how's the last couple of weeks been for you? I know here I get the same weather as you the same day now.
It's been really hot. I've been staying indoors most of the time because I also get like a migraine when I step from the air conditioning to the sweltering heat. The change in temperature gives me like a migraine. So I stay inside most of the times. You know, I'll go out if I have to, but I find something to do at home, basically.
Yeah, I don't blame you a bit.
But Damaris, you've been doing something really awesome.
Oh, my little videos.
Yeah.
Yes,
So
you have.
She has. So anybody, and Damaris, we need to get you to make those videos to share them into the group, so those who don't follow you personally can see what you've been sharing. Because honestly, I haven't been able to watch all of them, but what little I've caught, I'm like, wow, this is like really interesting stuff.
Different perspectives.
Yeah. What give everybody a little idea of what Tell us, what have you been sharing?
So a friend of mine gave me these tarot cards, and I usually use a deck that I read with and I read my clients with. And then I'm like, what am I supposed to use these cards for? And then one day I was meditating and then I got it. I'm like, oh, I'm going to use the 22 major cards to sort of like do the journey of the Christ through these cards, through these 22 cards. Now, the journey of the Christ, I just want to reiterate, it's really a state of mind, a state of being. And so it's an archetypal energy. And so I'm using the cards sort of like what we're going through individually and collectively on the planet. And so it's just, a perspective. So it's not something like it's, that this is it, it's just my own way of looking at it or my perception of it. And it just gives you a different kind of insight as to the possibility, the infinite possibilities of these cards, which I think that they have so much symbolism in it, the numerology, the astrology in it, the colors of the cards, the images. It's all just so very interesting. And I know a lot of people that they're like afraid of the tarot. They think that it's like not godly, but it's, it's all about energy, and the energy that, the person, when they're shuffling those cards, are displaying. You know what I mean?
Oh, okay.
It's interesting. It's a way of looking at it that's, a different perspective.
That is. So I have to share with you, I bought I bought a second deck, not my very first deck. I bought a deck a long time ago that I used as a Halloween costume, a tarot one.
Yeah.
But when I was in Amsterdam last month, we went into this really interesting little shop that had a lot of variety of different things. And I kept being pulled to this one side of the room, and I couldn't really figure out why I was being pulled to go over there, but I kept going over. And when you don't catch what it is that's trying to catch your attention, you go off and do something else that pulls you back over into that area. Right. So I finally caught it. It took me like 3 or 4 times, but I finally caught it. And it was an interesting tarot deck that I ended up buying. And when I saw you doing what you were doing, I'm like, oh, I should pull my deck out, my tarot deck, and do it. So it's a tarot deck based on movie characters.
Ooh, nice.
And I've only gone through it like once, and I'm like, I need to go back and go through it again.
You definitely should.
Because it is really interesting what little I understand about tarot. And for the record, I don't typically read tarot. I'm an oracle reader.
Yeah.
I found it really like bang on for the characters
Yes.
that they pulled.
Yes.
And I was just like, this is really interesting.
It
And
is.
so, yeah, I have it downstairs, but I was like, I have to tell Damaris and Gayle about
you should
this
do
deck.
it. I mean, it's there's infinite possibilities of things,
Yes.
you know?
Mhm.
There's infinite possibilities.
I got Mandy Disney tarot deck. And yeah, you wouldn't believe. I mean, of course, Disney's got all kinds of different characters. They've got to find stuff that would fit. But even the cards that we don't necessarily want to pull all the time, they have the best villains for those cards.
Oh yeah.
You know, it's a really awesome deck too. So and like you were saying, there are infinite possibilities. I mean, we live in a world of archetypes.
Exactly. Exactly. Yesterday, the ones that I did, it's like it was the magician, and I saw the magician as Adam from Adam and Eve, you know, from the beginning. And so it's just, you know, things that you download in the moment, I guess, and you create the story. So it's just the mind has to be open to take it though, to take it on, because you know, if we're not open, then we just don't agree with it, or we don't perceive it that way, which is okay. It's just in a, you know, in our perception.
Yeah. Well, that's
Yeah,
I love that. And yes, I agree with Krista. I almost shared the one that I saw this morning into the group, but I wanted to talk to you first about it because it's perfect for the group, you know.
Yeah. I think though that you, Damaris, need to share it into the group from all of them for everybody.
Okay.
Okay. Those of you who are here, do you think Damaris should share these videos she's making? Say yes. Say yes and give hearts. Because seriously, I think that our group, definitely. This is woo-woo.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I wouldn't share it unless, you know, you guys were okay with it, just because, you know, it's not just my podcast, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
But
absolutely.
Again, it's one perception of things.
Oh, see, we're getting some yeses. Yes, all right.
Yeses. See? Awesome stuff. Well, let me tell you a little bit about what we're doing out here, because, and I will be honest, I'm going to take responsibility for this right now. I don't have a fill light, and it's driving me nuts because my face looks so blacked out to me. Hopefully, you know, this disembodied, you know, in witness protection voice is doing okay for you guys.
The back view is just so beautiful.
Yeah, and I want to kind of scoot out of the frame for a second. Maybe it'll color balance for you. But if you could see over in this area, let's see, where am I at? There we go. Over here.
Yeah.
There's a little white top of a church. That is the old First Church in Bennington, Vermont. And Robert Frost is buried there.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah. Two paths in the woods diverged, and I took the one less traveled by that poet. And we've got Grandma Moses' schoolhouse and all kinds of stuff. But the real topic of the day today, August 16th, is Bennington Battle Day. And we here in Bennington have been celebrating for at least a week, I think. We had a classic car rally sponsored by Hemmings Motor News, the oldest classic car magazine in the United States. Wow. And they still do a classic car show every well, actually, I think this was the last one for the summer, this past Thursday night. We had a food truck rally, and we had a beautiful parade. And where I'm working now is right like on Main Street. So I got to work and watch the parade go by. It was awesome. But every time I went out to watch it, it came to a standstill, and you could hear the Grand Marshal stand explaining describing everything. But for those of you who don't know, the Battle of Bennington was what we call the tipping point in the American Revolution. Okay, so we're just kind of culminating all of this Pluto return stuff that Damaris has been talking about for the last couple of months, right? This was the time period of our original Pluto that helped us found this country, where we got fed up with the king and his unreasonable demands, and him sending, troops over to invade us through Canada and that kind of stuff. And what happened on August 16th was, our battle. The British forces did not know that we were coming into the area. Basically, they thought they were going to come down and steal our supplies out of where they were stored, which is right where the monument is now, that piece of property. Okay. And we had people coming in from like Massachusetts and Connecticut. Okay. And essentially, it was the first American guerrilla warfare attack, because when Seth Warner and his Green Mountain Boys, now let me back up just a second. This area was settled before the Declaration of Independence. So you've got a bunch of men up in the mountains that have a piece of land, that have grown up in England, where your only gentry owned land, really. The rest of them were, not landowners, right? So they've got a piece of land, and then they hear the British is coming to take it away. And what does an American say? Screw you.
Yeah.
This is my land, right? So they came in down from the mountains, and they handed the properly regimented, uniformed British their properly regimented, uniformed asses on that piece of land behind me.
Wow.
And the areas around here. And that was the tipping point. And at that time, when that battle was won, Benjamin Franklin was over in Paris, and he said, "See, we got scrap, back us up." And the French started started sending ships and money to us. And then the next battle was the Battle of Saratoga. And that one really turned the tide of the war. After that, America won, right? So I'm invoking all of that energy in this show right now. Okay, because we're Pluto Return is here. It's doing its work. It's doing its work in Washington, D.C. It's doing its work in people's individual personal homes in this country.
Yes.
And now is the time for us to take that stand again and say, no.
That's right.
This is ours. This country belongs to the people.
Yes, 100%.
Right?
100%.
And we have to start acting like a community of countrymen again.
Yes, 100%. Right?
So I just thought that was kind of perfect to kind of
sharing
it all together.
Yeah, and it's true. It's like 246 years later, from that time that you were talking about, and this is where we are now. So revisiting some of that psychologically, if you will, and also sometimes, in a physical perspective as well.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And this, there's not a whole lot of industry in this area. What tends to happen when you grow up in Bennington is you go into the service, and the ceremonies that they did this weekend to honor not just the local people that have gone away into the service and passed away, or veterans that we have a vibrant veterans home here. And it's very, very honorific to the veterans. But also there are two ships called the USS Bennington. One's an aircraft carrier. And on Saturday, they read the 400 names of everyone from anywhere that served on the USS Bennington, and it has passed. And I gotta tell you, this year that list grew a lot to 400 because of the age of the veterans and the pandemic and, getting sick and passing on. So, a moment for all of those people that have written the unfilled in check, signed that check, handing over their lives, their bodies for the purpose of this grand experiment that we enjoy every day and take for granted.
It's amazing. Amazing.
Awesome. All right, ladies. So let's get back to work here.
All right.
Yes.
Damaris,
because I really need to know what's going on there, Damaris. I'll tell you, some of the hankiest dreams have been happening.
Oh my God. Yeah. I had some weird dreams last night too. Good dreams though.
All right. So today I want to talk about Saturn and Uranus. So since March 2020, Uranus and Saturn have been in this intense tug of war. kind of energy. And so Saturn is a planet that is about restrictions, is about taking responsibility, taking ownerships of our thoughts and our actions. So Uranus is the planet of freedom. It's the great awakener. So Uranus is bringing awakening so that we can then become free, but we have to take responsibility for our actions and our thoughts. And so we can never have freedom unless we take responsibility for what we have created, each of us individual or collectively. And so once we take responsibility and we learn the lessons from the actions and the thoughts that we have taken, then we find the truth that will set us free. And that's the Uranus energy. So this energy of these two planets is going to be culminating in the fall. So there's a lot from now to the fall that is going to be revealed so that we can understand the part that we have played in everything that's happening collectively, humanity. And so it's going to be very interesting from now to the fall, I would say till November, how things are going to come up to the surface to be revealed. Because I feel that, again, if we don't take responsibilities for our actions and our thoughts and what we are creating ourselves, there can be no kind of freedom. So Saturn is going to keep restricting us. It's going to keep us in sort of like a prison of our own making until we are able to say, wait a second, I'm this behavior is causing this to happen, and this action is causing that to happen. And we almost sort of like have to take a step back and see the patterns of our thoughts and behaviors so that we see how we're restricting ourselves or allowing someone else to restrict us. And so what Uranus wants to do is really give us our spiritual sovereignty, but without the looking back and seeing our own patterns and limitations, that's not going to happen. And that has to happen individually and also collectively as a
Like
human.
putting frosting on a mud pie if you don't look at that, right?
Absolutely. 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 Because, sometimes we unconsciously also give others permission to keep us sort of like restricted. If we look at 2020 in March, when this whole energy started, you can take it back to that Saturn energy and where we were all restricted, where we were all, staying at home. And so Uranus is coming in to say, wait a second, what's going on here? Let's wake up. And so Uranus is responsible for the awakening process. And so in order to set ourselves free, but if we don't question anything, if we just continue to follow orders or rules, that's Saturn, how are we going to be us? How are we going to set ourselves free? So it's really an awakening process that's happening, and it's happening because of these two planets having this tug of war. And
now I would be interested to see if we were having that same dichotomy 246 years ago.
probably
Because
so.
that is exactly what we're describing when it's a matter of, oh, we're going to listen to the king, but the king's not serving us properly. So guess what? We're going to break free.
Exactly.
Exactly.
History does repeat itself.
Mm-hmm.
If we don't change anything, it just it's almost like a vicious cycle. It keeps repeating itself. And so until we change something, they do say
Or a
that
vicious
insanity
orbit.
is, what was that?
Or a vicious orbit.
Yeah, insanity is doing the same thing and expecting a different outcome. So if we keep doing the same thing and we're not changing anything, we can't have a different outcome. And so, but what I do love is that we're in a pivotal time right now with planetarily, it's the Great Awakening. We went from the age of the Piscean age, where was the age of darkness, which happened for 2,500 years. We're going to, we've already entered the age of Aquarius for another 2,500 years. But this is the age of awakening. It's the age where we have to sort of like follow our own truth, to make sense of our own lives and to choose different for ourselves. And as more and more people do the same, we're changing the pattern, we're changing the cycle.
Yeah. So in other words, what you're saying is stop being like sheep and following everybody else.
Exactly.
And be more like a goat and blaze your own trail.
100%.
That's
100%.
Agreed.
100%.
And,
So
and
Saturn is definitely the one that's restricting everything. The one that is also like saying, until you change something, you're going to keep going through this. It's almost like it's the Lord of karma. So it's lessons that we keep learning over and over until we change something to switch it up. And so that's what's happening, and it has to happen individually first and then collectively second. And we're all going through the same thing in our own lives within our own set of circumstances. So we need to set ourselves free and follow our own sort of like truth. Everybody has different, a different path or different truths in their own lives. And it's our responsibility to see what that truth is for us.
Right. And I want to comment on that, because
Sure.
when we say that everybody's got their own path and their own truth, that is very true. But don't let that lead you to think that if everybody follows their own truth, it's going to be anarchy and chaos. Because again, we live in a world of archetypes. God created this big ass playpen for all of us, right? So there's always that inside of this context, right? Follow your heart. And if we're all following our heart, then only good things really can come out of it, right?
100%.
Yeah, because it's a vibrational thing. So remember, if we're all, and I guess I should share I have a graphic and I need to share it about the vibrations. When you're in fear, it's a really low vibration, and it really holds you down and represses you. But when you're in that heart space, when you're in that space of love, when you're in that space of joy, and you wish it from a genuine space from yourself for everyone else, it's a harmony, and it harmonizes. Music is all about creating a balance of harmonies, right? Or a balance of notes. And that's exactly, that's the way I perceive
Well,
this.
it's funny you say that, because the word universe is one verse.
One song.
Right?
Yes.
One song.
One song. And when we're in that, and when we're in the vibration, we may not all be playing the same note.
Exactly.
But you know what?
That's what I mean by our own truth.
Is good music just one note? For me, our song at the beginning, there are lots of notes there. And
although there are some chants that are pretty rocking.
Oh, okay.
Also because
I like your Gregorian chant.
We're in the age of, Aquarius is the age of oneness. So it's finding our own individuality and then using that individualism and working in a group setting collectively. So really that's what it is. And so,
like the ocean. How many drops make up the ocean?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so with the number 3 that we have today, the number 3 is ruled by Jupiter. And I'm just going to talk about Jupiter so that it fits into what I said about the other 2 energies that are having this tug of war. So Jupiter is a planet that rules our higher mind. It rules our self-expression, and it also wants us to go from organized religion to finding our own spiritual selves. And so what happens is that number 3 is of self-expression, going back to that individualism that I was talking about a minute ago. And so it's finding our own beats and then mixing that beat, so to speak, with everybody else and see what kind of music comes out of it. Nice. And so we need to go with our higher mind in order to find our own truth, instead of going to organized religion where they might not understand your path and misguide you, maybe not intentionally, but misguidance nonetheless. And so we have to veer away from organized religion and find our own spiritualism, because we are spiritual beings having a physical experience. And so that number is literally saying, go with your higher mind, find the tune of your drums, share that tune with everybody else, and veer away from organized religion and find your truth that will set you free.
Yeah. And I get, there are some people, just what you said, they're probably sitting there going, oh my God, it's terrifying, right? That can be a really terrifying thing. Yet it is, as a former Catholic, I'm not a practicing Catholic, the most freeing thing I ever did was make my own choice.
Yeah.
And it does not mean I'm going to burn in hell. It does not mean that, I'm a bad person.
Absolutely
But what
not.
it means is I let go of a person dictating what it was that I could and could not do. And that became for me, my personal journey, a really, that was the straw that broke the proverbial back, because I had become a Reiki teacher, master teacher. I loved working with people. I loved healing people. And then I was told by the Catholic Church that I was a demon.
Exactly.
And I'm like,
I've been told that as well, by the way.
I'm like, no.
What it want to dig into this and the list of things that Christ did and said we would do and more?
Yes.
We need to do that today.
100%.
No, but it was really, and I only share this story because I think that some people need to hear that.
Yes. I do think that, Krista, so I'm glad you're sharing that.
Yeah, because I think people need to hear it, but it does not mean, as a matter of fact, I feel more connected with my higher power, whatever that may be. I feel more connected with the consciousness and more more grounded and balanced. It's very, it was like freeing. I was like,
It is. It's definitely, people can gather at a church. That doesn't mean you can't gather with other people, but you do have to follow your own sort of like
journey,
individual path and journey, because again, it can misguide you, not necessarily purposely, unconsciously. And then you're veering off into a direction that you really shouldn't be on. And your soul gets lost, so to speak. And
you feel small.
Yes. They also teach you that God is outside of you. God is inside of us. We're made of his image. And so, he resides inside of us, and it's up to us to connect to that energy and then share that energy with others so that they too can find their way.
Yes.
Oh yeah,
absolutely.
Definitely.
Let's see. I'm getting, there we go. Yeah. So do we, Liz. And what you said before, it's all of us. All of us are feeling this. Let's see. This is the one that I was sharing before. All that you're talking about is me right now. And that's just it. It's all of us.
It's all
and
of
we
us,
need to be reminded that we are not the only ones going through this.
No.
Every single person is experiencing a version of this right now. So be kind to people.
Because
you don't know.
We don't know what that version looks like for each person.
And that number 3 is finding our own self-expression, which could be verbal, nonverbal, which could be written. So we all have different gifts that we came in with. It's finding and tapping into those gifts so that we can utilize it for ourselves and for the benefit of others. So that energy of Jupiter is really saying the only way you're going to find your self-expression is really if you go into your spiritualism, which is what resides within. If we go without, if we don't go inside, if we don't go within, and the answers are within us, and that's what we need to tap into. What happens is that we always look for external answers or external approval, and we're not going to find what we're looking for that way. We have to go within to find
the approval needs to be here.
Exactly.
I love you guys. I love all of you, but I don't need your approval. You know what I mean?
Same way with me, and I'm sure the same way with Gayle.
It's like, but and I think that was one of those lessons that when I learned it, and embrace that lesson, because that's the key. Right? Embrace the lessons.
And it's empowering, right?
Yes.
Yeah. It was like, wow. Yeah. It was really good. It was really a good one. So yeah.
You know what else is really empowering?
What?
Looking at my stickers. Wow, that's good timing. I got it. There's your stickers.
So I have a
Awesome.
new one. Let's see. Can you guys see that? I needed to.
Yeah.
I meant to take pictures. There's
There
the
you go.
crystal one.
Uh-huh.
And then I have this one now in my water bottle as well. But I was going to show the one that everybody, that even my husband put on his water bottle. I want you all to know.
Let's see.
He loves this one. I mean, everybody's like, I want this one.
Yeah.
And
It's
so
gorgeous.
I will organize it and let you guys know. But this is the one that Mama Crone developed. That would be
that's
Stuart
wonderful.
Paquin.
I love
Love
it
it.
so much.
Yeah.
It's
So,
gorgeous.
Stu.
yeah. She's so funny. She's like,
Honestly.
all I did was exactly what you told me.
Perfect.
I'm like, and that's great. And
Yeah.
I'm giving you complete credit for it. And that's good.
Oh,
Because
that's
you
good.
did what I asked.
Yes. Yes.
So yeah.
Fantastic.
So I do still have 4 packs of the
Oh, sorry, go
original, just to let you
Right.
know. We
Okay.
still have 4 packs. So if you're interested, and if you want any of the stickers, please write in the comments, sticker in the comments, and I'll message you and we can communicate after the show. I just haven't gotten it's been crazy. Seriously.
Yeah. She just got back on her feet, so to speak.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll let you catch up. All right. Are you ready?
I am. I'm actually really, really, really excited. It
Me
is
too.
Green Tourmaline for our crystal of the week. And so it's really kind of funny. I was listening to Damaris, and before the show, all day I've been thinking about Green Tourmaline. And it just so happens that we were in Valkenburg, and I went into a crystal shop that I had gone into, and I actually did a little video a few months ago about this particular place. And we went in there today, and it was really interesting. And I'm going to share this because it's very important. It goes with some of the energy I think we're all feeling. I'm walking in this crystal shop, and I feel very sludgy and sticky. And energetically, it just felt like, ew. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And Genevieve was with me and Logan was with me. And Jen leans into me and goes, is it just me or you? And I said, yes, I'm feeling the sticky, sludgy, yucky too. And Logan's like, okay, what? Right? He's like,
Poor
what
Logan.
are you two talking about? What?
New to the scene.
But no, he stays very curious and he asks a lot of great questions. And so one of the questions he asked me, and he's like, so I don't quite understand what you meant by this. And I explained, well, crystals, when you're playing with them and when you're working with them, said, especially when you're in a crystal store, that a lot of people go in and touch.
Mm-hmm.
They leave their energy. They leave like little imprints on
right.
everything.
Yeah.
And unless someone goes in, like the store owner or an employee,
Mm-hmm.
and consciously, clears the energy out, you can walk in if you're sensitive to it and really feel like you're walking through tar.
Yeah.
Right. Because of all that energy.
Yeah.
And, and the conversation, went down many different rabbit holes. One of the reasons why I absolutely having conversations with that young man. But it really got me thinking about the Green Tourmaline and what it meant for us for this week. Mm-hmm. So one of the things when you're dealing with tourmaline, many of you probably are used to seeing black tourmaline, right?
Yeah.
And it's made of little rods that are compressed together, so it has striations. And some of you have probably seen watermelon tourmaline, mm-hmm. or you've seen red tourmaline, which is also called beryl. Mm-hmm. And there's a pink tourmaline that's not quite kyanite, but yet they can be similar. Mm-hmm. Not kyanite, kunzite.
Yeah.
Kunzite. I was like, as soon as kyanite came out of my mind, I'm like, oh, wait, wrong one. Kunzite. But the striations are a wonderful thing because it's a rod. Mm-hmm. And it's compressed. So it's, formed under great amount of pressure. And one of the cool things with it being a tourmaline but yet a green tourmaline, which by the way is a rare one. It's not like it's a common one that you can walk out, to your local mineral store and pick up. It's one of those ones that is definitely a bit harder to find. Is the green always is connected. When you see green stones, I don't want to say always, that's an absolute. And as my dad said, don't use absolutes.
Ever.
So frequently is connected, if it's a green stone, to our heart. And when I was listening to Damaris, talk about this, about us having to go within and work, I'm like, this is a perfect stone, because going in and working, you're working with your heart center.
Yes.
And the really cool thing, unlike some of the other stones, is green tourmaline is meant to be worked on a physical level of us, not the etheric, not the spiritual, not the rooted. It works with that physical heart. It helps to heal that. But more importantly, it brings in wholeness. It brings in, which again, for me, the striation, of the rods, and they're all compressed together. If you think about it, it's taking all that's out here, and it helps you bring it all together to make it whole. So if you're thinking about working with the tourmaline, and Gayle, do we have a photo?
Let me get that for you.
I know
really,
that I'm
really pretty.
Oh, there you go. That is a really pretty picture.
And I actually was lucky enough to luck into some nice little green tourmaline pieces in Quartzsite a couple of years ago. And the guy didn't even know what he had. He's like, well, these are, I don't know what they are, but you can have them for $5 a piece. So I grabbed them, because those are, even the 1-inch chunks that I've got are probably like $30 stones. They're not easy to find.
They are not easy. And you're right. They're yeah. So if you're in Maine, by the way, anybody who's in Maine, that is an area, Maine and that part of Canada, you can, where you'll see watermelon tourmaline, that's where you can also find green. But so if you don't have any and you really want to work with it, find a picture of green tourmaline, download it, and sit with it. Sit with it and see how it works for you. And you're going to meditate with it. And I know those of you who have been who are part of our Patreon account, I have a crystal meditation in there. Just scroll up and you'll find it and sit with it. Do that meditation with the green tourmaline, even if it's only just a photo. Because and then write out without thinking what it is that you're sensing, what it is that you're feeling, what it is that you smell, what it is that you're tasting in your mouth. And you can do all this just from a photo. You don't have to have the stone. And the reason why I am suggesting to do this right now with the way the energy is and the stone that it is it's going to help you see what that inside work is.
I love it. I just want to add something, Krista. As you were speaking, and I even had to look it up because I don't know what red and green make, and it's brown. But when you were talking about the heart, when you were talking about the heart, I thought of the Saturn and Uranus are both working with the root chakra, which is self-preservation and survival. And so they're both working with that energy, with the root. Yeah. But since you're talking about the green tourmaline and the heart, I was thinking, okay, so maybe a crystal that can help with the root chakra and the heart chakra at the same time, because we're all being uprooted, so to speak.
Chrysoprase. Chrysoprase.
Which one would it be?
Chrysoprase. Because it has the green and brown elements naturally in it. Yeah. CHRY Soprase.
Yeah, and actually, funny. No, I don't have it
So
here. I
yeah,
have that
we're
downstairs.
literally being uprooted with all these energies, and so we need to find grounding at the same time as working inside with the heart. So
And actually, if you get a good piece of green tourmaline, and I wish I had it with me right now, it will have like some brown in it. You can work with just the
Yeah.
green tourmaline if you can find a piece or a picture of it that has the
The
grounding
brown.
as well
Yeah.
as it. So either one, but you can use that bonded green and root together in either of those as well.
does bloodstone have the variations of brown in it?
Bloodstone
It does
has
have red.
it has red and green.
Mm-hmm.
Root
Yeah.
The other, I mean, that works. But another thing to think about, if you're wanting to balance and ground that root, if you have a piece of selenite and a piece of black tourmaline, I have a little piece of black tourmaline right here. I usually have a selenite stone. I don't have it. I have blooming agate at the moment
Okay.
in my hand.
Mm-hmm.
But you can use a selenite stone and a black tourmaline and put them in each hand, and that will balance and ground you, and allow you to work with that heart center.
I love that.
Yeah.
Now, another reason I think why the green tourmaline is so good to use right now for this heart stuff, especially with everything that we're talking about today, is like Krista was saying, that the rods are compressed together and it brings it together. Some of you may not be aware that we actually do have strings inside of our heart, you know. And when we get sentimental, they say pulling on the heartstrings.
Yes.
Right? When you die of a broken heart, literally the pieces that are the strings in your. Now, here's the thing. Why do you think those strings are there? Because between your heart and your stomach and your brain, your body creates a magnetic field.
That's right.
Right? Yeah. Which goes out from your heart. Now, if those
Yep.
heart strings are out of tune, what are you putting out? Right?
That's right.
And the green tourmaline will help tune up those heartstrings, just like guitar strings, just a little twist of the little key at the end of the fret, you know, makes the sound more true.
I like that.
Same with the green tourmaline. Do the meditation that Krista gave you. And if you can't get access to it because you're not in the Patreon group, join the Patreon group.
Yeah.
Which I'm going to actually turn that over to Miss Krista to tell you why you should join.
Because we're awesome. All right. Thank you guys for those who have joined. So we have 2 levels right now. We have your citrine level, which is a basic $4 a month. Thank you to it's a supporting our what it is that we do, right?
It buys the stickers.
It helps to buy the stickers, and it helps. And honestly, it's a way for you guys to connect with us. Mm-hmm. We put extra stuff on Patreon. Granted, the last couple of weeks it's been a bit spotty between me being sick and everything else
and
going on.
And the internet being sick.
Yeah, and the internet being sick. It's been a little bit crazy. But the other group that we have is the amethyst, and that's our level, our wisdom level.
Yep,
that's
the whipped cream level.
The whipped cream. Yeah, there you go. And that's a level that you guys actually get more access to us, because those who are joining the amethyst for $15 a month get to see us 2 additional times, but on a private, well, not private, but more personal and close kind of thing, which is called the Moon and Woo. And we meet, and I've already posted in our group our meeting days, which are Mondays at 9 a.m. Eastern time, 3 p.m. my time. And we talk about essentially what to expect with the upcoming moon phase, whether it's the new moon or the full moon. and a variety of other things. We answer questions that, you're burning questions. We give you guys little insider tips, maybe some things that we do that's a little bit extra, and and we're just growing. And we're loving your support, and we're loving to connect with you guys more and more. And so, yeah. And then eventually here we have another level that will be launching probably in the fall. We need to get Gayle a little bit more settled. We don't want to put too much pressure on her. One thing at a time. She's like, right. What about Krista?
Absolutely correct. Absolutely. Oh my gosh. It's getting there though. It is getting there. And I don't want to say that I'm settled, but I'm where I want to settle.
Good. You know what I'm saying? Brilliant thing.
Huge. So I want to talk a little bit about the card of the day. And I'm flipping these back and forth every week, it seems like. I'm going to do my own segment first, then the card. No, well, this week it works to do the card of the day first. Because the card of the day today is the King of Wands. And the King of Wands is all about, clear, like knowing what it is that you want, right? Here, let me give you a little bit of a synopsis here. All right. So we got, sit down and think about your goals today. All right. You have a very clear understanding of yourself and what you're capable of and what you want in your future. You really do. All of that. Oh, I don't know what you do know. You're afraid to say it. Trust me. I know, because I was there for years. It's too audacious. It's too bold. It's too much. It won't be received well by the people around me. Stuff them. Use that energy to get intentional. Not only can you set great goals today, but you also have the energy to start working towards them, right? And just like we have been talking about through all of this, and again, this always comes together. There is, the woo-woo is present, definitely. And, it's running the show here, right? Because today we're going to talk about pushing yourself to follow your heart, all right? Because I know, as well as you know, as well as they know, right? It can get scary when you're trying to follow your heart. It's not all sunshine and roses. We tend to fall back into our comfort zone and our safety zone. And, I'm not going to pick up the phone and make those next 10 phone calls that I need to make. I think I'd rather just eat a pint of Ben and Jerry's. It's much more fun, or whatever you're escaping, numbing, let's doom scroll through Facebook for 3 hours and then wonder why we feel like crap. That kind of thing. So, you sometimes you do have to push yourself to continuously follow your heart, and whatever the creator, whatever name you choose to identify your creator by, does not matter. Whatever your creator has put inside of your heart is your special mission for you to take care of while you're here. And some people don't, and some people do, but this is for you. And sometimes it's challenging, and sometimes it's scary, and sometimes you have to get up off of the rusty nail on the porch, because it hurts, and you find yourself all of a sudden going, oh, this was easier than I thought. It was easier than I thought. Because when it's spiritual, it's practical, and things fall into place. But you have to be willing to take that look. Where are my heartstrings out of tune? What tools can I use to bring them back into harmony with every other heart on the planet, so that we're actually moving forward and ascending and evolving as humanity?
That's right.
For the betterment of all concerned on the planet.
That is beautiful.
It is, and it's true.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And that is the age we're in.
Yeah. And it. Trust me, with the stuff that I have been experiencing over the last few months, especially, there's been more than once that I would go, okay, maybe I should just let go of the last 15 years work of my life, and, just time to make the donuts. because I would think that I would be, it's so much easier than risking myself and putting myself out there, time after time, my heart, my mind, whatever, right? And I know
Yep.
you all are experiencing the same thing on
Mhm.
your own personal scale,
100%.
right?
Yep.
Yes.
Completely.
But you know what? What tools can you use? Can you use Krista's meditation? Can you use particular crystals? Can you use some insight about where the planets are and what kind of influence they might have on you so that you can use that influence for yourself
That's right.
rather than against yourself, or being at the effect of it and feeling victimized by it, because you didn't know what to expect and how we can actually make it work for us, right? And this show, we're so grateful that you come back week and week, again and again, and follow along. Because, like, for example, this is right now, this week is like the culmination of, the Pluto return from
Yeah.
that we've been
Mhm.
talking about for 2 months,
Yeah.
and as it goes forward, you know, we need to come together. We need to be sharing the fact that we can build a better world. We don't have
100%.
to be divided.
And what we all have in common is that we're all living on this planet Earth.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So it is our responsibility to protect ourselves, just like that root
Yes.
chakra, self-preservation, but it's also preserving the planet. Otherwise, where are we going to live? We might
Yeah.
have to go off planet somewhere.
Yeah.
We are the keepers. We
Mhm.
are
Yeah,
the
of the earth.
caretakers
Yes.
of Mama Earth. That's
Yes.
our job,
And
is
that's
to
a
be the
responsibility.
caretaker.
It's
It
our
is
responsibility that Saturn, no less, wants us to take on.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we're
Yeah.
going to pay the price.
Right.
Yeah.
And I love that you brought the Jovian influence into it as well with Jupiter. Because essentially, when I think of the planets and the archetypes that I think of, Jupiter's God,
Yeah.
Saturn is the rule maker, Uranus is the, rebellious upstart,
Yes, free
you
spirit.
know? Exactly. So we've got all three of those high level archetypes that are going, okay, what are we going to create here, humans?
Yes.
What are you going to do? Because you are the hands and feet and
Yes.
eyes and ears of God.
That's
God
right.
doesn't get anything done except through Mother Nature and us,
That's
Yeah.
right.
right?
That's right.
So, like I said, if God has put something, if your creator has put something in your heart, that is your piece of the puzzle to do.
Yes.
Follow your heart. And if you
Yes.
find yourself challenged in that, reach out to one of us, to one of your
Definitely.
trusted confidants, and ask them, help me get my heartstrings in tune again. Where's my true north?
Yes.
What's my
I love
next
that.
step?
I love that.
Because
I love
Yes.
sometimes you got to take a step in order to see the next one. You cannot see it from where you're at. You just
Yes.
can't. There's a,
Well,
there's a corner there.
because
You got to step out into the sidewalk to see what's around the corner.
that's right. Life is about changing perspective. And I realize for a lot of people, that's a hard ask.
Mhm.
Unlike me, where it's like, well, I move so often and my life is constantly, in flux. It's still, I
Yes.
have to remember that yes, my life is in a constant flux, but it doesn't mean that I'm always getting a different perspective. It mean, I too need to take a step back and maybe take two to the left or two to the right in order to see things from a different point of view.
Mhm.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
They say, and I said this in another show, that the mind is like, has similarities to a parachute. If you don't open it, it's useless. If you don't
Yeah.
fall out of a plane and you don't open
True.
the parachute, you're doomed.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
same thing with the mind. If we don't open it, then we're doomed because we have no room for expansion and we can't
Right.
see other perspectives.
Exactly. And no way to float.
No.
Right. So I want to take just a second before we get to today's
Sure.
winner to thank everyone who's here today for coming back. Sometimes it gets really, really scary when you're off for a week or off for 2 weeks because you get out of our audience gets out of the habit of showing up with us on Tuesdays, and we're nothing without you. So
Yes.
thank you so
Absolutely.
much to all of you who joined us today and contributing through the chat and everything. We absolutely adore you, appreciate you, and we love you. Thank you
We
so
love
much.
you.
Now, for today's winner, we have dun, 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 congratulations to this week's Woo Woo giveaway winner, Wendy Burrow. And thank you for being a part of Three Crones and the Woo Woo. Somebody, I don't think Wendy's one of my friends. One of you please tag her, or she may have even joined on her own and she's not any of our friends.
She's
But
probably, I don't know her.
I don't
she
know her.
actually was born and raised in Arlington, Vermont. I chose her and then I went and looked at her profile and I'm like, oh my God. She owns a boutique over in Massachusetts now, but she was born and raised in Arlington, Vermont. So that puts
Wait, does she live in Townsend?
I think maybe.
I don't know her, but
Mama Crone knows her?
does. Yes.
Wonderful. So congratulations, Wendy. Thank you so much for being part of
Love
Three
it.
Crones and the Woo Woo. And all you have to do
Yes.
is reach out to Krista, Damaris, or myself. Pick one of us to give you your prize. And your prize, for those of you who don't know, every week we give away a 30-minute reading with one of the three Crones. Now, for me, it would be a tarot reading, an intuitive tarot reading. For Ms. Krista, it would be a crystal reading. And for Damaris, it would be a tarot reading or a astrological reading, or excuse me, numerology.
Numerology.
Reading. Numerology. So you get your pick, and it's 30-minute reading, and you just reach out to which one of us you choose, and we'll get you right on the books.
Yes.
And we'll schedule that up for you. So thank you so much, Wendy, for watching, and we hope to see you again more often. And I think that's just about it, except for this. Don't forget to order your stickers. We got new ones now.
We do.
So,
we do.
Just reach
So
out
let
to
me
Krista.
know if
Say
you're
sticker in the comments. Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say sticker in the comments and let me know, and I'll reach out to you.
Awesome. And again, thank you everyone for watching, and all of the people who have contributed and sponsored us along the way, including Mama Crone. We love you, and watch out for a remote broadcast. Mama Crone is 2.5 hours away from where I am right now. So we're going to make that happen soon.
Yes.
Okay.
That's awesome.
Right. Have a fantastic week ahead, everybody. We love you. Bye. Oops, wrong one.